Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So we're going through our monthly roundup of the most popular blockchain games. Just thought I would start off showing you where I get the data from. So this is DAppRadar, and you just go here and I've clicked through games. So this is giving me a list of the most popular blockchain games. I can select by different time frames. I always take my data for 24 hours because that gives me the proper uniqueness. So it's unique wallets we're measuring. So we can see here, Alien Worlds currently the #1 game. But let's flick in to see what's happened over the month of September, which is what we're doing in this roundup video. Okay, so this is what we're looking at for the year of 2022. So the end of September now means we're looking at Q1, 2Q, and Q3. So the first 9 months of the year. And these are, so the data we're looking at is on-chain data. So a whole bunch of games have off-chain data, sort of centralized servers, traditional gaming stuff. We're just looking at the on-chain stuff, the on-chain data bits of smart contracts, people sending, tokens around, people buying NFTs, people for games that are on-chain doing stuff on-chain. So we've had Splinterlands in yellow here for the biggest, has been the biggest game for most of the year. It had this big crash down in the summer where it basically changed its reward system and lost a whole bunch of bots. So it's been building up since then. And in blue we have Alien Worlds, which has stayed really pretty steady throughout the year, so around 200,000 daily active unique wallets. So in Alien Worlds, people are just mainly just sort of mining these tokens out, maybe doing some NFT trading and swapping out as well, and some missions as well that happen on the BNB chain. But mainly Alien Worlds is happening on the Wax chain. Splinterlands on the Hive chain. Basically, it's sort of its own chain really. And we can see here that really since during September, these two games are sort of roughly seeing the same sort of trend. So at the moment, Alien Worlds is slightly in the lead. Splinterlands slightly down, but these are the games that are roughly the most popular on-chain games. About 200,000 daily active unique wallets. Splinterlands, trading card game with actually quite a lot of on-chain activity in terms of people trading cards, people renting cards, a whole bunch of sort of token stuff going on here. There's been a lot of activity in Splinterlands. It's been releasing sort of new card packs, new seasons, doing NFT mint on Ethereum in later on in October. So those are the two. It's been pretty sort of, although the sort of overall levels, certainly for Splinterlands, has dropped. These two have been two of the most popular blockchain games for most of 2022 and some of 2021 as well. One game that sort of had peaked up and then gone down a lot is I've got two colours here that are confusing me. So I've got Axie Infinity. So we can see here Axie Infinity, lots of spikes at the start of the year, and that's come down pretty low level. Again, with Axie, they're sort of kicking in their new Axie Infinity Origins game, basically the third version of the game. Again, as with Axie, most of that stuff is happening off-chain. The on-chain stuff is just people sort of staking or people breeding, all that sort of stuff. But that's still at quite a low level because there's have many million, 11 million, 12 million Axies out there at the moment. So still quite low levels there. But it seems to have sort of plateaued there. We'll see what happens. Really, the big thing looking for Axie is when those games go live on the app stores and to see if that sort of kicks activity back up. Farmers World, which was just kind of confusing me there in red. So this is a sort of again sort of a farming style game running on the Wax blockchain. It sort of peaked about 15,000 daily active unique wallets. Sort of been coming down ever since then, quite steadily. And again, although blockchain games are very sort of innovative and unique in sort of new markets, all this sort of stuff, they still do suffer from the same sort of dynamics as all games, which tend to launch with a lot of interest and then potentially build up on that launch period to get a peak of users, and then that peak tends to drop away if there's nothing new going on. And the people developing blockchain games tend not to be very experienced game developers, so sometimes you do get that sort of experience. Very different sort of experience is Gameta, or however you pronounce that. So this is running on the Solana blockchains and the BNB blockchains. You can see it's only really started in May. It's sort of growing quite quickly. 15,000. It's a bit up and down. It's not a game itself. It's sort of like a collection of games. So I guess the idea is they're calling it game meta, and it's sort of like a sort of play on having multiple hyper casual games sort of wrapped within a sort of hub, which is sort of underpinned by its token. So these are not necessarily games that this is a whole bunch of games that people might sort of cycle through. Lots of work lots of people sort of experimenting with blockchain and hyper casual. I guess one of the issues with hyper casual is these games are not very sticky, so people might play them a lot for a little bit and then sort of crunch out of them or churn out of them. So sticking a sort of blockchain wrap around it, will that work? My view is sort of a lot of stuff on B&B is quite sort of focused around tokens and the value of the tokens, so that has a big impact because the games themselves are not that sort of exciting experiences, I think. So we'll see. It's sort of still over 10,000, but we'll sort of see how that long-term sort of popularity plays out. So a few other games we will look at that we've generally looked at. So Opland is a mobile sort of Monopoly style game where you own bits of land in a sort of a realistic-ish global map. So that sort of peaked at about sort of 60,000 daily active unique wallets at the start of the year. It's sort of been undulating down. I guess it's kind of one of these games that is sort of experiencing this slight sort of decline curve after a peak. To be fair, they are doing quite a lot of work on it behind the scenes. It is a sort of tricky game because it's a mobile game. They've chosen to sort of comply by Apple and Google regulations. They don't really have a floating cryptocurrency, and it's harder to sort of cash out, which I think has meant it hasn't had a big peak like other blockchain games have. But maybe that means it's a bit more sort of stable. So it's still where are we so heading down towards sort of 30,000 sort of daily active unique wallets. So I put this on a separate graph because it's a bit easy to see. So at one point this was sort of peaking around 7,000-8,000 or at least for a day, 60,000 sorry. So that has been in sort of third place at various points in the year. It's now sort of coming down, but it's not a sort of boom bust sort of cycle. So we'll see how they get on with that. Then we have Defy Kingdom. So again, that was a game mainly running the Harmony blockchain on Avalanche as well. And at the start of the year was doing pretty well, sort of 25,000 daily active unique wallets. So what's happened with this is they're moving blockchain. So they're moving from the Harmony blockchain, which had a big hack on its bridge in the summer, early summer. So they're moving to the Clayton blockchain. So there's a whole bunch. So basically, this line has gone to zero because all the assets are being moved over, and people are going to be playing on the Clayton blockchain when that goes live. That's not live yet. So this is sort of a we'll see. Can relaunching a game on a different blockchain? How much of your audience do you pick up and can you take with you? Interesting to see. My gut feeling as somebody who plays the game is I'm not sure it's going to get back to where it was before because token price has gone down and a whole bunch of sort of stuff. So people have at least some players have a sort of a bitter feeling in their mouths that the money they spent is now basically sort of worthless. So we'll see. And Nine Chronicles is a sort of PC sort of idle-ish RPG, South Korean. Quite nice artwork. It's been around for a long time, and they've been building pretty steadily. So that's kind of interesting that they are a sort of PC download game. I think if they got onto mobile, they would probably be able to market much better. Again, it's not a game with an incredible amount of depth. The last time I played it, it's sort of it's a sort of PvE, PvP sort of battler where you're basically grinding out to get better sort of gear and sort of equipping that and then going out and defeating harder enemies. But they see pretty steady growth. That's partly been kicked in by the fact they've got their own token now. I mean, all tokens are down because that's just sort of the nature of the bear market at the moment. But they're seeing sort of pretty steady growth. I mean, again, not massive, but just getting up to sort of 20,000 daily active unique wallets. Final graph we'll look at. This is much smaller. So this is under 10,000, and these are actually all mobile games. So we have Benji Bananas, which is a sort of a slightly odd game, an existing Web2 game. Very nice, actually, game to play. Sort of physics trajectory game where you're a monkey swinging through the forest collecting bananas. But they've added a token element to it. So if you own a certain NFT, you can play the game and collect these called primate tokens. So the primate tokens don't really have any utility at the moment, and the price has gone down, as with every token, I suppose. But so we are seeing what have we got there? 35,000 daily active unique wallets at this peak, but it's dropping right down again because sort of all you do here is sort of extract tokens and sort of swap them out again. So not very clear if they can sort of bolt on enough utility to make that a game that's sort of worth playing. But an interesting tech experiment, at least. I think it's an Animoca brand, so I think they've got lots of things they could plug it into. So we sort of just wait to see what happens there. And I guess a bit more interesting from a trend point of view is we have Trick Shot Blitz and Solitaire Blitz in red and yellow. So this is from Joyride US. They've developed these games, also publishing, so they've got their own sort of wallet solution. And they're running on Flow, so big spikes, relatively big spikes when these games were launched. You can see Solitaire Blitz has fallen sort of right off. In fact, both of them have sort of fallen right off after their very early sort of launch, and they just, got people excited, but they've sort of dropped off quite a lot. Trick Shot Blitz has sort of has sort of reversed its decline, gone back up again over 25,000 daily active unique wallets. So yeah, these are mobile games through the mobile app store. That just makes it a bit harder to get the crypto stuff in there. You have to sort of do that, have to sort of workarounds using sort of web browsers and such like. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. So no massive sort of significant sort of changes. I think at the moment we're still very much sort of under the bear market sort of conditions. So while some games are sort of improving themselves, it's sort of from a low base, and we're still really sort of waiting to see some of these big launches whenever they happen. I guess stuff like particularly the Sandbox. Although again, with those sort of projects, hard to judge because much of their activity will not be happening on chain. So that radar looks at basically smart contracts running on these blockchains, which are on public blockchains, and then can sort of see what's going on there. It depends how these games are set up as to what actually the smart contracts are doing. So you have to be a little bit careful about what activity you're measuring, and sort of how much of the game is on chain and how much is off chain. So, but that's what is going on at least. And I guess from a top line picture, this sort of graph is sort of broadly similar to what's been happening sort of crypto in 2022. Started off everyone very excited, and then since then the sort of harder times have come on, and I guess for the global economy as well. So it's not just sort of crypto, but so I guess we're in a building phase, as everyone sort of says, and we'll wait to see what comes out of that in the coming months. Okay, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and see you.